Hello and welcome to Domino One. I'm your host, Smith Paul. Recently, I did a podcast where, in the comment, somebody left me a comment saying, "Have you done any research or do you know how prevalent, I'm paraphrasing, how prevalent that CSA or sexual abuse is amongst the disabled community?" And to be honest with you, I never actually looked into it. So my thing is, I raise awareness for CSA, I raise awareness for victims of say or anything like that. And I try to talk about core things such as family values, ethics, and trying to get people to see different perspectives, different views about certain topics. But mostly I talk about CSA and I raise awareness for it. But I have to be honest, I never actually looked into the prevalence or how horrific the numbers are really when it comes to the disabled community. And so I decided to do a little research on that. But one article that I found that I read actually was actually mind blowing to me. How would you like to make a difference today? Well, with the price of a cup of coffee, you can help me send kids to school in Haiti, my hometown, Cap Haitian. Gandhi once said, if you want to find yourself, lose yourself in the service of others. Now head on over to smithpaul.com and see how you can help me make those dreams a reality. Thank you. And you can go check it out yourself at michigan.gov, and it's sexual assault and disability. But before I read a little bit about this one for you, I remember back in the days where I grew up in Haiti, I was very young as other things were happening, but I do remember that lady. She was not there. Literally, they called her the crazy woman. She would, she was dirty. She was homeless. She was just walking aimlessly places. Sometimes you see her, sometimes you don't see her for weeks. But there was a rumor about there are people still taking advantage of her, even even the fact that they know she's not there. She's mentally ill. She has no one in her lives. Like, people still took advantage of her. And I always found that so hard to comprehend. It's hard for me to comprehend anybody taking advantage of somebody against their will, especially children. Hence why, I do what I do, right? I talk about it. I raise awareness for it. I think it's beyond evil. But I never actually thought so much about disabled people, people with autism, people with other disability that are out there. And sadly, there are a lot of them. I never thought about their plight. I never thought about their environment. How when I was little, those same people who were taking advantage of that mentally ill lady, there are people like that in our world now. And then it's not an excuse, but I was little. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't even think it was possible. I didn't want to comprehend it. And it kind of became something I never really thought about much. But that is actually a thing. So, again, the whole thing about me bringing that up and just taking that comment that, the person left me and dug a little bit deeper, did some research is because I think it's very important. And I am going to read a little bit of this. But one thing in life that I realized that, and I fell victim of that because I never actually thought about it because it never affected me. And again, that's how we are as humans. We don't think about things that don't affect us. Hey, the war is happening in Iran. People are dying in Africa. People are dying in Haiti. People are dying in Chicago, gang related stuff. But it's not happening here where I'm at. I hear about it. It's not affecting me really. I don't have to go to those places. So the point that I'm making is sometimes we have to force ourselves to not only think a little bit deeper, but when we do think deeper, then have an aim. Perhaps you may not have a destination, but have an aim. And what I mean by that, when I pray sometimes as a Christian, I love to pray about the unknowns. I love to pray about those things that I don't think about. Because just because I don't think about them doesn't mean that they're not happening. Just because I don't see them happening doesn't mean that there's not work being done. I just don't see it. It takes a lot to make the world go around, right? And so if things like that are happening to disabled people, we need to talk about them. And you don't need to have somebody who's disabled in your life to find this topic, this subject very interesting or very important to talk about. So that's the point that I'm making about when we think, not only you have to force yourself to think a little bit deeper, harder, but have an aim. And the aim is, I want to know more about those people. The same way the person left me the comment. And I'm being honest with you, I never looked into it, but it kind of stuck to me. And my wife also said, we should definitely look into that. Let's see let's see if there's not if there's any merit, but how much of a merit there is to that. And there is. It is very, very sad. So in that article, what I wanted to read to you, it talks about, warning signs. It talks about those physical signs if something is happening to your disabled loved one, like those signs that you actually look for, the behaviors that will occur after those things are happening. And it's just very sad. So at the beginning, right off the bat, so I'll read this to you. So it says, adults and children with disabilities are assaulted at much higher rates than the general population. Disability can include a wide range of limitations such as hearing, sight, physical, cognitive, and developmental limitations. Some perpetrators will take advantage of people with disabilities. They think the assault won't be reported, the survivor won't be believed, or the survivor will rather have difficulty telling others about the assault. Often people who grow up with severe disabilities are never educated about sexuality, reproduction, or sexual transmitted infection, STIs, as part of their school experience. And that makes sense because, if, I've been around disabled people, it's sad. And bottom line is, I think we need to be more considerate. And I continue here. It says, this lack of knowledge combined with perpetrator behaviors like manipulations, emotional pressure, or physical violence may make a person with a disability more at risk. So basically, again, it's the same type of people that I talk about within the CSA community or any SA or any type of abusers. Those people are just animals. They are animals. They are evil people. Do you understand how evil you have to be to look at somebody with a disability who is already at a disadvantage by hence the word disability? But you're so coward, you're so evil, you're going to take advantage of those people. Not that it's okay to take advantage of people who are not disabled, but I mean, can you just ask yourself what kind of people would actually do something like that? What kind of people would do something like that? So imagine my neighbor has a disabled sister. And so I see them interacting with them. Beautiful, beautiful soul. I love saying hi to her as well. Just imagine you having a sister, siblings, I don't know, a mother, a dad, whoever it may be. They're disabled and you have to take care of them. Let me not say you have to take care of them. You get to take care of them because I'm trying to see the light in everything, right? Let's just go with that. You get to take care of them. You get to take care of your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad. And you think that the world would see them and feel bad for them. You think that's the world that we live in, right? But there is a percentage of that same world that we live in that would see them and seek to manipulate and seek to take advantage of them. Again, when I said those people are animals, I guess that's, in a way, that's me trying to make my case as to why. There are a lot of things that I have patience and tolerance for. This isn't one of them. It's just, there are a handful of things that I just have zero tolerance for. That's just one of them. And I see we're all made in the image of God. As a Christian, that's what I believe in. But that image can be possessed, could be possessed by something else. And when you look at somebody, when you see people doing that kind of stuff, you may have the image of God, but you are being governed by a different entity, by a different spirit, by a different realm, if you will. You may be here, but mentally, spiritually speaking, you are evil. You are doing evil things. And so that's why, for me, when I talk about CSA, I know it's a depressing topic. I know it's something that we don't want to talk about. I know it's something that is just heavy on the heart. It gives you the ache. I get it. It gives me the ache. I don't enjoy talking about it, but I enjoy raising awareness for it. I enjoy believing in the work that I'm doing here, even though it's not popular or as popular as it should be. At least that's what I believe. Not for the sake of getting the clicks, the views, making money. That's not how I make my money. This is a calling for me. That's the way I want to look at it. That's the way it is for me until it isn't. For now, it's a calling for me. The same way, every time I have an opportunity, I'm going to talk about the disabled community that are being, you know, it's just a sad reality, what they're going through. And so let me talk about some of the signs as well. And again, this is an article that I'm reading. I just think it was so apropos to what I wanted to say. So I might as well just read that off to you guys. You can go check it out at michigan.gov. And the name of the article is Sexual Assault and Disability. And some of the warning signs that we need to look out for if you have a loved one that is disabled, whether it's, hearing, sight, physical, cognitive, you name it. Take care of them, because there are people out there seeking to take advantage of them. It's unbelievable for me to even think that. I can't believe that I'm saying those words. It's one thing to see some kind of attraction towards somebody that is beautiful and you want to take advantage. You have some sick, twisted mindset that you want to do that. Not okay whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. But again, somebody who's disabled, not that they're less than, but obviously we can all agree that it's in the name. They need more attention, more help to live in this world with us, which any disabled person, I hope and pray that you have loved ones around you to give you that. But for somebody to seek to take advantage of those people, it's just mind-boggling to me. So some of the warning signs, again, reading from the article, it says below are some common warning signs that a person with a disability may have been sexually abused. If a person is showing these signs, quote unquote, it doesn't mean that they have definitely been sexually abused. It's important to look for a pattern that may suggest someone is sexually abusing the person. And some of those physical signs are unexplained sexually transmitted disease. A disabled person, let's just say a mentally disabled person, it will be hard to explain why all of a sudden they don't even understand the concept of sex or just the way we perceive sex, and all of a sudden they have an STD. So a physical sign to keep in mind and be aware of. Increased difficulty walking or sitting for a long time. Bruising on the genitals or inner thighs. Bleeding, irritation, or pain of anus. Pain when urinating or moving the bowels. Bloody, stain, or tattered. So all those are signs. And again, I think it's common sense. It's pretty straightforward. If you have somebody you understand that you have to do everything for, but within your circle, if you need any signs not to trust your inner circle as to somebody's doing some nefarious stuff, when you start seeing things like that appearing on your loved ones and somebody you believe to have cognitive deficiencies or, disabilities, those are signs that you need to start. That's already too late. But once you start seeing those signs, definitely need to act. How about some behavior signs from the article? Still reading from the article. Behavioral signs: agitations, anxiety, inability to focus, or abrupt change in mood, withdrawing from family, friends, or social situations, anxiety or fears about bathing or using the restroom. So those are all signs, and you can go on and read the whole article and you'll get really good understanding of it. And I'm sure it's not the only one out there, but like I said, for me, it was very apropos to uh, read some of those, did some research, look up some numbers, and it's just sad. It's just one of those podcasts. Because I'm very grateful the person commented and then told me to look into it. Thank you. If you're watching this episode, I apologize for not remember your handle or your name, your username, whatever it is, but it was you. It was you that compelled me to look into it along with my wife. And so I thank you for that. This is all about raising awareness. This is all about just stop being so easily manipulated and seeing each other as enemies just by listening to the news, watching the news, or take a step back and understand what's at stake here, what's happening in the midst of all that stuff. And that is one of them. Your loved one being manipulated, manipulated and sexually abused. That's a very, very hard one to stomach. And understand that the kids, we are the future. The kids are the future. We need to protect them. Yeah. Thank you for watching. If you get any values out of this video, please share it. Please share it. Like it, subscribe if you'd like. You don't have to, but please share it. At least share it, because those things are not things that should be not only not talked about or taboo or feel too icky to talk about, but we have to understand the merit. We have to understand the importance and how prevalent they are. And we need to spread it out, share the word. It's in that we will find a solution, or at least we will diminish, we will lessen the amount of abuse that happens on a regular basis. Those perpetrators, they thrive in the darkness. They thrive in silence. They thrive in just you and I feeling, this is too icky. This is too weird. I don't want to talk about it. Well, what's the solution? We got to talk about it. We got to raise awareness. We got to talk about it more, right? Or else it's just going to keep operating in the shadow. They're going to keep destroying the next generation. So we got to do better. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. One love.